What's up, guys? My Brent here, folks. WhereTheLines.com. It is Thursday Night Football. And man, after some stinkers, we have a hell of a game here. Bengals at the Ravens. Massive game in not just the division, but really for these teams overall. Ravens still have their eyes set on the number one overall seed. Cincinnati needs to win some damn games if they want to make the playoffs. And so we are looking at a really, really big one here on Thursday night. As always, guys, everything we do absolutely free, so hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up. And then also let us know in the comment section how you're going to play this game as we get going. As 3.5 in favor of the Ravens right now. 46 is our total here across the board. Now, injuries are, I would say, going to play a factor in this, though we did see a version of Cincinnati last week without these guys, but it is two major guys, one on each side of the ball, going to be out for Cincinnati yet again. T. Higgins out, Sam Hubbard out. T. Higgins, of course, the wide receiver 2, who would be a wide receiver 1 on about half the league. And then Sam Hubbard, one of their better edge rushers there for Cincinnati on the other side of the ball. And then on the Ravens side of things, they are not completely healthy either. Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, going to be out for them in this game. And then Marlon Humphrey's doubtful. Doubtful's out. Like we haven't seen, we see literally it's like 2% of guys listed as doubtful that end up playing in the game. So it is going to be without a major piece in their secondary, and then one of their guys on the offensive line that has been a rock for them, though not as great this year, mainly because he's been battling these injuries, but still you'd rather have him out there than not. Full disclosure on this one, I took 4.5 whenever this thing opened up, and I took the 4.5 with Cincinnati, thinking that T. Higgins and Sam Hubbard were going to be back. I thought at least for sure T. Higgins was going to be back. I wasn't completely sure about Hubbard, but thought he was trending in the right direction. Instead, I get neither one of them back. So I've got a ticket in the account I don't necessarily love. Don't hate it either, so I'm not going to buy off of it, but just full disclosure on all of that. So what are we getting here in this game? In my personal opinion, you can read along here from what we got over on the site, but in my personal opinion, pass-happy approach from Cincinnati, run-happy approach from Baltimore. If you look, one, Lamar just hadn't been throwing a ton all year long as it is anyway. So why would you differ from what you've been doing all season long whenever you're looking at a defense that is just quite literally absolutely atrocious against the run? And listen, this isn't just like, oh, early in the season, Cincinnati's defense was struggling more than it is now. True. But you can even filter this out and take out the first month of the season, right? You can start in week 5 and start to look at these statistics, and they're still in the lower 20s in the league when it comes to run defense. If you look at the full season numbers on them, their rush defense EPA, 28th in the NFL, 29th rush defense DVOA. If you look rush defense success rate, it is 24th in the NFL. You go to Pro Football Focus, who grades these teams off of every single play with their eyeballs. They have the run defense at 29th. in the NFL, so you get it. Across all the major advanced stats and things like that, this has just been one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, which plays right into what Baltimore really has wanted to do anyway. They are running the ball more than most teams in the NFL, and it's kind of easy to see why, right? I mean, they've got Lamar at quarterback. He's able to create all kinds of craziness from the run game because with the option route, with kind of the option plays that they're able to run, whether he keeps it or dishes it or even pulls it out and throws it. I mean, there are just so many different ways that they can look at you from that way. And so what do we get? We get the number 1 rush offense EPA in the entire NFL. Number 3 rush offense according to success rate. Number 1 rush offense according to DVOA. You get the point. So I don't think they're going to differ from what they've been doing all season long anyway. And why would you when you're awesome at one thing and the defense you're playing against is bad at that thing as well? Now on Cincinnati's side, the Raven defense, I think this is going to be pretty easy for what they're going to have to do. You can't run against this Raven defense. They are very, very good against the run. You look at Cincinnati's run offense as it is anyway, and it is by far their weak spot here. And even without T. Higgins, I expect a pass-heavy approach. You take Marlon Humphrey out of the equation over there, and it only makes it even more obvious that Cincinnati's going to pass a ton in this game, in my personal opinion. So with all of that, where do we land kind of on a side? Listen, on the other side of a field goal, I would still take Cincinnati if I had to. Like I said, I don't really love a side in this thing, to be honest with you. I think 3 is a very likely outcome. If that's the case, then you would want the hook with Cincinnati. We've also seen Baltimore, even when they get leads, have been really, really bad at protecting leads for whatever reason. And with that, you would think, too, with the team that runs the ball so well that they would be able to protect these leads, but that just has not happened all season long. And so now you look and you go, all right, well, is there a team better equipped to come back and get a backdoor cover than Cincinnati? I mean, right, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And, yeah, I understand Higgins isn't out there, but you still have Tyler Boyd. And, honestly, Trenton Irwin has stepped up pretty good in this little role that he's got. And of course, Mixon can catch passes out of the backfield as well. So there's just – I can't imagine that this is going to be something where you're going to feel super comfortable at all holding a Baltimore ticket throughout the course of this entire game. This total has been bet up. So this thing was sitting 43.5. It's been bet all the way up to 46. I think there's a resistance point for me at 47. If you look, like, we have covered well over 30% of the outcomes, well into kind of like the mid-30s whenever we're talking about what we're looking at here. I mean, the little band alone of, if we kind of look at these totals, right, and the key numbers and totals aren't the same as they are from a spread perspective, but if you look like, so 36-37, like those two numbers, about 6.6% of games fall on that. 40-41, about 8.6% of games fall on that. Like 43-44, those couple of numbers, about 9% of games fall on that. Of course, we're on the north end of all of those numbers, and if you look, we're kind of getting to the point now. I think when we get to 47, I would probably go ahead and come back in on the under. Don't know if we'll quite get there, but listen, this thing already been bet up 2 points. We know these primetime games, people like to bet overs because they don't want to bet unders, and so we might even get there. I think that's what we're going to look at here. But as far as bets that I do have in the account that I really like, this is kind of a prop-heavy game for me because I'm just going to tell a story. I'm going to take a stroll down one believing coach speak and narrative street as well, and we're going to start out with Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell, if you guys know, running back for the Baltimore Ravens that has really started to come on. If you look, Keaton Mitchell, John Harbaugh's been asked about him the last couple of weeks. He said this week specifically, we're going to get him more run. He's explosive. And then also, we just talked about this. I expect him to be run heavy, and I expect Cincinnati's run defense to still be porous, right? So if the guy's going to get more run, we're going to use our eyes like we did on Monday night whenever we cashed the Javonte Williams ticket as well, because, hey, he was getting more run. He was being featured more. This is probably going to come at the expense of one of the other running backs. I just don't know which one, so I don't know which one to take the under on, because obviously if Keaton Mitchell is going to get more, then either Justice Hill or Gus Edwards is going to have to get less, but don't know exactly which one's going to be. So we'll just bet the Keaton Mitchell. If you want to guess which one, Justin Hill or Gus Edwards, is going to get less and you want to take the under on them, then that's fine with me too. But we're going to go over here on Keaton Mitchell. I like the over rush yards. And if you want to be safe, you can even take the over on the rush receiving. He can catch passes as well. Might get you, 2 catches for 15 to 18 yards. And then it makes it even easier here to get over the over rushing. So what I think I'm going to do is probably play 75% of a unit on the rushing yards, 25% on the rush and receiving for the full unit there on Keaton Mitchell. Now with Tyler Boyd out, with T. Higgins out, I'm going to go ahead and look at Tyler Boyd. Trenton Irwin has been running routes on about 80% of the dropbacks, so he's been getting more looks. But the problem for me is there just wasn't a big enough difference in Boyd and Irwin. Like I would have liked, so you can see here, it's 4.5 catches at plus money here for Tyler Boyd. It's 3.5 catches for Irwin. It's 43.5 yards for Boyd, a proven every down player for this team as a wide receiver 3. And it was 33.5, so it was only 10 less yards for Trenton Irwin. So there just wasn't a big enough gap for me to go to Irwin, and so I'm going to go ahead and go with Boyd. I'm going to take the over in the yardage, and then I'm going to take the over at plus money on the receptions as well. Kind of the same deal I just talked about with Keaton Mitchell, about 3/4 of the unit here on the receiving yards, and I'll take some plus money stuff here for about 1/4 of a unit as well. Really do like that. If you're playing same game parlays in this one too, guys, like I think you can tell a story of either a Baltimore successful rushing day in which you could take Baltimore, maybe take it under a field goal, maybe take Baltimore at 2.5, Then you take Keaton Mitchell over, you take Lamar over, and maybe like a Gus Edwards anytime touchdown or something like that, right? And then if you want to tell a passing success story for Cincinnati in this, it would be, Burrow over some alt yardage, take him over 250 or 275, whatever over that. You're going to take Boyd over his yardage. You're going to take Jamar Chase over maybe his receptions and yardage because he's going to get a ton of targets and looks and things like that in this one. So you can kind of tell the story of how I think the game's going to play out through a same game parlay as well if you want to go that direction. But really just prop heavy stuff for me. Again, if I had to play it, it would be Cincinnati. If I had to play the total, it would be under. Looking for the total to get to 47, I will play it then at that point. But feels like a 3-point game to me. Really kind of feels like a 3-point game to me. And so the play would be on Cincinnati if we're going in that direction. Guys, everything we do, absolutely free. Of course, take advantage of the prop tool, as we say always here, because that is so incredibly important to make sure you're getting the best number on that. And then right up here, that is the Discord, and you want to join and talk about this game all the way up to kickoff, as well as every other sport that's going on out there. Hit that subscribe button. Do appreciate it. And good luck on all your Thursday Night Football bets.